To Australia next for a breaking story this morning. Police there investigating a suspected incident of terrorism. A man in Melbourne stabbed 3 people. One person was killed, and then the attacker was shot and killed by police. These are some of the first pictures coming into our newsroom, and they show the deadly events as they unfolded. Take a look at this. The man fighting with police, seeming lashing out with his knife. The incident brought to a sudden end by police gunfire. Of course, we're not going to show you that scene.
Been a lot of police officers that have looked a bit concerned. You know, I've run into some friends here as well who are also concerned. You know, I'm on Reddit a lot, and videos have emerged of the shooting, attempted stabbings and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite graphic, quite violent. And at the moment, I guess the best way to describe it is just shock.
Absolutely shocked witnesses, and people turned away from the area now by police as the scene unfolded, and a big crime investigation underway. Let's go to Peter Hadfield, who's in Sydney this morning, and this is where we turn to Peter when something like this happens. Take us through what happened. So much of it captured there on video, Peter, so we've seen it. Talk about the lead up to it and how things then unfolded.
Yes, well, it's put this in perspective. It's evening here, and this started to unfold just as the rush hour was beginning in downtown Melbourne, in a very busy street called Burke Street, full of shops. It seems the man drove a pickup truck and set fire to it, parked it. He didn't try to ram through pedestrians, which has happened in the past, but he just parked it in the side of the very busy street and set fire to it. Some people described him as throwing a bomb in there, but that hasn't been confirmed by police. As the fire was raging, he then got out and he started stabbing people. He stabbed one man in the chest who died. He stabbed 2 other people, one in the neck, one in the head. Police were on the scene very quickly. 2 officers were seen by hundreds of people trying to grapple with this man as he was slashing at them with a knife. And they showed a great deal of restraint, but eventually shot him, and he later died in hospital. They shot him in the chest. So this has been something that's been witnessed by a lot of people, which is why you're seeing so much vision of this, Heather.
You know, they've been saying that they're investigating this now, Peter, as a case of suspected terrorism. What do police know in terms of motive and what's behind it?
The moment they don't know. They do know that this man, he was known to counterintelligence authorities. He had originally come from Somalia, somewhere around the early 1990s. And last year, a relative of his was arrested on terror-related charges. Now, the police are not giving a lot of detail. In fact, as the police commissioner started to tell a little bit more detail at a press conference recently, he stopped himself. They've got to be very careful. Even though the man is now dead, there's going to be a lot of investigation into this. One other thing that they did discover, apart from this deadly knife attack, was that inside of that pickup were gas bottles, which they described as being gas bottles related to like barbecue, which is normally propane in this country. And the bomb squad were brought in to deal with that. So had those exploded, of course, the injuries and the deaths could have been much larger. So the situation we have is a terror attack which could have been perhaps a lot worse than it was, and the police are still investigating to find out more about this man and his motives, Heather.
Peter, thank you very much. Freelance reporter Peter Hadfield joining us from Sydney, Australia this morning.